So I'm going to hand over to Julian, who's going to run through. Hopefully you'll get something from today's session, whether you've actually got SPM, as it's referred to, or not. Hopefully you'll get quite a lot out of today.
Okay, first thing, can everyone see the screen? A little PowerPoint thing.
Yeah.
Don't panic, it's not going to be death by PowerPoint. There's just a few slides and I'll just show you the software then. As normal for these webinars, we're squeezing an awful lot into the short time frame. So, which you will see. So this product, we call it Sales Pipeline Management at Pegasus. I don't know why, because basically it's a CRM. So I haven't actually got to the bottom of why we call it SPM, but there we go. So I'm going to run through a few bits and then go into the software and you'll see how flexible it is and go from there. So I'm sure you all probably know what a CRM is. Sadly, those that don't know what it is think I'm not interested in that and don't need to see it, so they don't come on webinars. It'd be great if we can get that message across to them. So it basically manages all business interactions for you with customers, prospects, any leads you have, so you can manage the sales process with that. But it also manages all the communication if you want it to for your customers as well. Automates a lot of tasks such as your sales tracking and marketing campaigns and stuff like that. Benefits of it will improve efficiency, improve customer happiness, and should give them a better experience of dealing with your company. It also gives you the data at hand then in terms of sales and communication to actually make business decisions for you. CRM or SPM, as we call it, is a central point within the Pegasus system for you to manage all of that prospect and customer data. Moving away slightly from the financials, but what it does do, it interacts and uses information from things like the sales ledger to bring across data, so you've got all the information at your hand when you're speaking to the customer. No information should be lost, no sale missed, and no customer left unhappy is the message, really, if you use it properly. A few stats on this. People who use CRM, they use 94% of it, use it for customer management. So, you can schedule courtesy calls and stuff like that, saying, hi, how you doing? And hopefully persuade them to buy something else off you. Obviously, the sales tracking process is what people tend to use it for. You think that's what CRM is about. A few other stats there. Some quite good ones, really. Improve access to customer data. So 74% of businesses said this. I won't go through all these, are in your face, really. Sales forecast and actually increase up to 42%. It's still, what does the salesperson or what does the person put into the system that you'll get reported on? That's quite a good one. By tracking the sale and knowing when you've got to make that phone call or follow up on the sale, you can actually increase sales conversion rates by up to 300%, it said on the stats I read. Increasing revenues, and obviously productivity increases as well if it's used properly. So the key features of Pegasus CRM, as I said, single point of entry, comprehensive integration with the rest of the systems, advanced contact management, your sales opportunity tracking. You can set tasks and appointment setting through the system, and it's also got some marketing and communication tools and as much reporting as you want as standard, or if you add on tools like XRL or Data Connector, you can report anything out of the system you want. So that's the boring bit done on the PowerPoint. So we'll actually have a look at the software itself. So you will see your normal Opera 3 screen. I'm actually in Opera 3 SE, so it might look a bit different from what you've got at the moment. We have a title at the top called CRM. Click on that, and then you can see the sales pipeline management part on there. So there's a lot of options in here. As I say, it's very flexible, and one of the important things, if you haven't got it already, and I've learned this by experience, that any CRM, because it's so flexible, you really need to have a plan in place before you implement on the way it's set up. My experience was when we started using it, I used to be a partner with Pegasus. I thought that they bought sales pipeline management. I thought I'm going to use that. So I set it up, and 6 months later, I thought this is rubbish. It's not doing what I thought it would do, and it was all about the setup. So I actually scrubbed the whole lot, started again, and set it up the way I wanted it to work. So it's so flexible. So I think it's important to get the plan in place first to determine what you actually want to achieve from using the system. A few titles here, a few headings here. So you can access the system in a number of ways, either by using company processing, which means you go to the company name, by contacts. So Gillian, if I wanted to speak to you, I could go through here and click on contacts and search for you on there and to go with it that way, or I can go through any sales opportunities that have been created as well. Go through a few of those at the moment. What I thought, because there's a lot to fit in, is I'll show you the way I use it. Not saying that's the best way of using it, but it's the way that works for me. And I don't use all the functionality, as is always the same with Pegasus. It's got so much functionality that A, you don't know it's there, or B, you don't use it. So I would go through company processing, because I think it's easier just to remember company names. And it brings up this screen here. So the first thing I've done, I should have showed you really, is I've imported all of the sales ledger accounts into there. So everything in your sales ledger is there. It also brings across all your purchase ledger accounts as well, just in case you do contra business with them, or there might be a target customer for you to sell to. Who knows? Brought all those across, and you can see this Adams Light Engineer. I'm on our demo data. Adams Light Engineer is a customer, tells me that there. Customer reference, etc., all those information that you'd expect there. Number of tabs across the top. So there's memos, so there's any special information about Adams Light Engineer you need to know about there. A list of all the contacts that you wish, and we'll go into contact management in a minute. Any other tabs? Now these are quite interesting because these are user definable. So if you wanted to carry out a targeted marketing campaign, for example, everyone that uses, I've set a few up here. There's some standard ones in there, some information available for the salesperson who's talking to them. But you can say, right, I've got a new product that links to stock management. I want to send an email out to everybody that has stock because and advertise basically this new product, or everyone that doesn't have CRM. In this example, I want to send an email inviting them to a webinar. And you can set up as many of those and use them how you wish on there. I'll show you a bit of that later. There's activities, history, which basically records every single thing you've ever done on that account. So it will store all correspondence sent. I'll share how I use history and activities while I'm going through an example. Any opportunities for that customer that are outstanding or closed. Any quotes for that customer, and it will maintain quotes that have been sent to the customer. So if I sent a quote to you last year, but then I've revised it again, you will no doubt ring me and go, do you know that quote you sent me last year? Forget the one you've just sent me, which has probably been overwritten in Opera. I want to talk about the quote you sent me last year. There'll be a copy of this. So all the revisions of the quotes will be stored in here for you to see. Because you know what, dealing with customers, they always pull back some information you promised 2 years ago or something like that. So everything, all the information is there. Audit report on who's changed things, and obviously your normal list of customers. So in my scenario, I'm going to create a new prospect account. So, I should have thought of a name of a company, shouldn't I? Bookshelf in front of me. Oh, there you go. My birthday, my wife bought me some bonsai tree seeds, so they're on the shelf here. I haven't done anything with them, so we'll call it Bonsai Supplies Limited. The Avenue, we'll do it in Bristol. So obviously your normal stuff that you would have on the contact record that you would need. Country, it's going to be United Kingdom, if I can find that. Was it the GB, United Kingdom? What currency? Just leave it blank. It's ours. You can set up your price list, and then for other systems you've seen, you've got specific price lists you can set up on SOP and things like that. So you can link them to that price list. Obviously brings all that in. So on here, it is demo data, e-store prices, special customer pricing, stuff like that. So when you're quoting, it's going to refer to their special prices. Website address, you can put in an email address for somebody, or just a general one, however you want to do it. This is quite interesting. These are set up by yourself. So how have we actually, why is this prospect with us? What's worked in terms of the marketing? May just be a cold call. They've come in and gone, we want to buy this, or they've seen a website, or we've done an advert, or we've done an event. We'll say it was an NEC exhibition. I mean, categorize them into your industry types. So again, if you want to target certain industry types, you can do that with your marketing. We'll do retail, small business. So save that. There you go. So I have, remember I said there was those user default, use definable fields you can set up yourself. You can set those whether they're mandatory or not. So I've actually set up one turnover. I need to know what their turnover is. You don't have to know that. It's up to you what you want to do. So just for information, as you say, it's got other things. Who's the decision maker? Other contacts, SA, but you've got a list of contacts anyway. Thinking Pegasus, what software do they use? Do they use something else? Thinking about Minster, have we got their hardware support? Who does that? So again, looking at opportunities to upsell or move them. What do they have? All that sort of information. It will ask me for regions and things like that. If you want to do that, I'm just going to click OK. I haven't put contact on, so I need a contact on that. So I'm going to say it's me. Got that already. Mr. So make myself important or not, I'll just make myself a buyer. Oh, I don't know. It's that, isn't it? Job titles are listed. So again, you can target by job titles, FDs, MDs, buyers, operations, managers, whatever suits you on there, and what departments they're in. So again, you could target finance people, distribution people, whatever on there. So that's now saved that prospect here. So it's a prospect type. There are 3 types in there, so you can actually list competitors as well. See, world turns with a customer, and I'll show you that later. But you can have competitors in there as well, and you'll see when we create an opportunity, you can actually say who you're competing against for that business. So somebody will know in your business how much your competitor charges, I would guess, and things like that. So you can do all that. So we'll have an opportunity. We'll create an opportunity on here. New opportunity. So I'm the contact. You have as many contacts as you want, of course, and you can add a contact on the fly. You can have multiple sites as well for the opportunity. And we'll go for the easy one. What about a Pegasus Opera 3? Again, it asks for a referral method, so it could be that NEC exhibition, but that could have been how we found the customer, and we could have then sent a mailing to them, and they've responded to that mailing. So it could be a different reason why they've come to us and inquired about Opera 3. Sales stages. So this helps with your pipeline forecasting. So set these up yourself. So I've got initial inquiry, sale completed, quote sent, and decision pending. And I've put some sales theory really behind this, is percentage chance of closure on there. So you can do a report later to say, well, anything that's over 50%, I'm going to forecast that, or however you want to do. You don't have to do that. So I'm going to say initial inquiry. Who's the competitor, as I said? And again, I haven't got one for Opera, but opportunity contact opportunity type. So again, you can sort through, do a report on everyone that's interested in Opera 3, everyone that's interested in hardware support, etc., etc. We set all those over. Pretend that says Opera 3. When do we think that'll close? Again, helps with your pipeline reporting. I don't fill that out or that out, to be fair, but you can. So the last chase, expected shipment. Next chase, I will complete for today. And that next chase appears in a calendar for that person to see what they need to do to say, I need to ring that person on there. Well, it's an expensive copy of Opera 3. Estimated value. And again, I've got a defaulted mandatory thing that set up in the demo. Hard chase, yeah. Give them
Julian,
hard time. Yes.
Just on that, when you put the next chase part into the date, does that go into your task list and on your
Yes.
calendar? It does.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Activities. I have got this link to activity and turn this off. So what by default this is saying that I've got to do something with this activity. So it may be somebody else who does the quote for it. So I can go, please do quote. To be honest, when I use this, I switch this off. I don't use activities unless I need something from someone else. So examples being, when would I use it? If I need an engineer to look at a server, to spec up a server to see if it's good enough to run Opera 3, if it's got enough power to run Opera 3, etc. I can assign a task to, in this case, Mark Johnson, to go, and I'll say, please inspect server spec. That will then appear in their calendar and give them a job to do. So there's a bit of a workflow going on here, and you can go back in and say, I can schedule the dates, etc. Put it in for all day or a certain time. What priority is it? Color code it, so if it's red, he knows it's high priority and he goes in and does it. And we can also set him a reminder so it pops up to say, go and look at that server, please. I will save that. I'm just going to ask you for something else, isn't it? Did it save? Not there. No matching records find. Oh, it's kind of typed in the top thing. Doesn't matter. Just put something in there. Save that. For what? Do you want to press that? One of those. Priority high. There you go. Had to put a priority on it. And then it's sending him an email to say, go and do this. So I struggle through that because I don't use it. I don't use that bit. So what I'm going to do is raise a quote on here. So just through this system, instead of going into SOP or invoicing, you can raise a quote in here and it links to SOP directly. So you'll see the normal form if you've got SOP that you see. From that warehouse, click OK. Again, I haven't got Pegasus in here, so we'll set up electric car polisher instead. Comes up as normal, page down. Could do descriptive text on there, etc., etc. Post that, update the documents. That's now raised a quote, and if I can print that off, and that will email across. If I set it to email to the customer or the prospect, we can have a covering letter template if you want to do that. As an additional document to that email. So you just click that, add whatever, and it's asked you quotations, documents, and history. Yes, we do. Edit emails before sending.
Julian, just on the covering letter template, that's the one thing that we need to get into using a lot more. Whereabouts? Yeah. Where do you set that? Where do you set that up? And is there something you can do to attach that automatically to every quote, or do you have to select it every time?
If it's a similar one, there can be a document design that you can set up to attach it to. That's my quotation there, and you can say it's got all the information on there. If I go into maintenance, we can go into mail merge templates. Either do it in there or I think it's in there. We'll say it's in there for now. Maybe somewhere else as well, but I'll have a check, Tom, and
Yeah, okay, thank you.
come back to you on that one.
No
Okay,
problem.
so the quote's there. That quotation, as I said, is then recorded in history forevermore, unless you clear it out. What I tend to do then is, so I've done that quote, it's gone off to the customer. We'll say a few days have passed. Now under tasks, there are a number of different calendars here. So we've got a task list of what I've got to do. That's everything that's outstanding in demo system, all color coded. I can look at other people's if I have the rights to, so I can see what's such and such doing today, and pull up their to-do list. The one I actually use is SPM Today, because that shows me any activities I've got outstanding. So if you are using activities, it gives me a whole list of what I've got to do, a bit of information on there. All my sales opportunities, they're in red, they're overdue. You can see that's the one I've just done. So I go, oh, okay, I need to ring them. Let's have a look at that opportunity there. It would appear in the calendar as well. It is there somewhere. Open up that opportunity, right, I've got to ring them. Now, the way I use it is I just record in my history. So I create a new history record. But you can use activities as well. Use definable type. No. We'll say that I should say chase sale or something like that. Few notes on the call. Any attachments, you can attach those into there and just save that history to say I've made that call. And again, it record that history. So all the way through that sales process, you've got a record of any phone calls they made, any documents you can attach to that. So customers ask me for a more detailed specification of Opera 3. What does fixed assets do? What does CRM do? I can actually attach a brochure for them using that attach, email it off, and it will record it in here as well. So you can see it's quite powerful. There's a lot you can do with it. So we're going to say they've come back and bought it. So happy days. So the first thing we need to do is go back into that customer record. I apologize. Teams slows things down quite considerably, so it's much quicker than this. If I wasn't speaking to you guys, let's do a search because I'll never find it. Bonsai supplies, go into there. Well, they're going to buy, so we can't place an order because it's still a prospect. We need to put that into the sales ledger. So just to save any duplicate, then we can put action, create sales ledger account. Yeah, we want to do that. Whether you want the salesperson to do that or not is a different issue, but customer account code will be the one you've set up, but you can alter that to suit with your coding. And then it goes through all the normal bits you do if you do it to set up a sales ledger account. And just ignoring all I have to specify. So get this right now. We've got Southwest, yeah. So it's telling me, and the sales territory. So if you use sales territory, who does it belong to? You can then, to be fair, what used to happen when I in the previous, when I worked for a partner on this, they would look at the territories. That's how they would determine my commission, by doing a report on that. It's making me do it all. Customer type, private, click OK. Thank you very much. Delivery methods, stuff like that. Too many defaults in here saying I have to do things. Okay, that one now. Type has now changed to a customer, and now it's linked. If I look in sales processing. I should see one for Bonsai. There you go. Bonsai Supplies is now in my sales ledger account. So it just saves that rekeying, and being a salesman, I know what it's like. You don't get the information, etc., that you need to be able to put it into the sales ledger. It's always the same. And then you can progress through that. What we also have, so that's just prospect. You've recorded all the information, you've got all the data, you've got all the documents all recorded in there. We can do. Now, for that customer, we need to, and this may be a good thing for your customer retention and customer happiness, actually go through that and schedule. This is where I would use an activity, is create a new activity and schedule follow-up sales calls, follow up a call for every 2 months, 3 months, however you want, customer happiness calls, things like that, and just get that repeated in the calendar as you go. Where are the timing it? Close, no, don't want to say that. Okay, so going back to CRM, I mentioned there's another ways of coming in here. So contacts, we can look at this, processing, and I can find myself in here that I've just set up for Bonsai. There you go, first level in there. And again, you can record a lot more information in here. Birthday, so you can send me a birthday card. A lot of sales theory in this, just to say what people want to do. There's other tabs on here. So again, use definable. So if you want to create some information, it is quite nice when you ring someone, you remember their wife's name, dog's name, stuff like that. It is quite nice just to have that sort of thing. But you can have again, lots and lots of use definable fields in here to record information against that person you want. Attributes in there, their management, they can order things, stuff like that. If you want that in there, what food they eat, holidays, blah, 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 blah. Again, activities linked to them, any history linked to them. So again, you can see the call and the quote and stuff like that. It's all there. Any opportunities linked to them. I've got to say, let's double click on that opportunity, because we've won it, haven't we? We've got that order. So what we can do is edit that and say won, and the reason why we've won it. I think people record why we've lost a sale. We were too expensive is the normal answer. Too expensive, or perhaps service wasn't good enough, or something like that. But I think it's also good to record why you want to do, what did you do well, so you can carry on working along those lines. So, so we won it on an upgrade offer. I mean, and it closed on 19th of the 6th, and that one's done and dusted. That opportunity is now closed off. That quote then can then be progressed in SOP to an order and invoicing and things like that. We also have another way of going in is through opportunities, sales opportunities. So that will list all those. And again, I'm only going in this quickly just to show you, again, you can have more user definable fields in there. So you can think of any quote needs to be checked because it's over a certain amount or something like that. You can put those in there. So there's a lot of flexibility. All those user definable fields can be reported on. All of them can be used. Moving on to the next bit is we do an advanced search. We can look at, I say there's a lot into this, to be fair. There's a lot you can do with this. Advanced search, so we can actually display results based on companies in a certain postcode area, those user definable fields. Could do a search on what their partner's name, so we can send an email to everybody that has a partner's name of Tom or Julie or something like that, and display the results on that. We can also send out, do mail merges, so we can create letters or emails that actually pick up the customer data, name, address, etc., and put it into a mail merge that you can create yourself. Or we can actually create here a bulk email for marketing purposes. So if we do postcode with BS. And again, all those use definable fields. There's 2 in there. So we can then send them an email with whatever we want to do. So click on email. And of course, it records all that. So type the email in, or again, use a mail merge type thing to send it in, whichever part of the system you want to use. Subject, have you heard about our latest offer, or hope all is well, can we arrange a call, or something like that, and you can send it. This is quite important. Limit emails to 30 recipients each, because this is sending them directly out of Opera via your Outlook. So if that list had come up with 1,000 customers or prospects, you don't want to press send on 1,000 emails in one go, because the lords of the internet will blacklist you and do things like that. So you can limit it to 30 or 50 or 100, whatever you are. There is an add-on for this, which is MailChimp. You saw on the last slide a little picture of it, which is a proper emailing campaign manager. So it will send the emails out of that. So it will spread them across. And also, depends on which version you have, will say who's opened it, who's looked at it, who's clicked on links and stuff like that. So it's quite powerful. Obviously, it records all the history that they've been sent this letter or email as well. We've done tasks, utilities, sales and post upload. If you go and buy a list, for example, from a marketing company with 10,000 prospects in, and you're going to give it to your sales guys or your telesales guys, if you have them to work on, you can actually import those prospects in one fell swoop, as opposed to having to sit there and type them in like I did with Bonsai there. Just get them in via a spreadsheet. That works quite well. Used to do that all the time. And these are all the use definable fields that you can set up, or the drop down to industry categories, activity types. So they're all. So if we look at activity types on there, there's a whole list of them on there, but you write them to suit your business. Yeah, there you go. That is probably, I don't think I've missed anything out. It's a really quick way, but the way I use it is I create the prospect, record all the history of going through, do the quote, and then once they become a customer, it can be all progressed through there. But it's quite good for the quick emails and scheduling, I think, more customer management calls and activities to say, are you happy? Is everything okay? Obviously, then go and then do you want to buy anything else? But that's the way it is. Right, any
Can I ask a
questions on that?
question? Oh,
You
yeah.
can, yeah.
The sales ledger and CRM, does it constantly talk to each other? So would you be able to, at the moment, we do sort of like a sales analysis in the sales ledger part.
Yeah.
Would you be able to get that on, would you be able to get that information through the CRM as well? Would you still go back to sales ledger for that?
It's a good question. I don't know the answer. I'm going to find out for you now.
Right. Got another question.
Through Action, you can actually click on the account record and you can see all the information there. So there is a link there. So would that give you that information, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and
it
then
is
the
just
other
brings from there. Didn't go through those actually. Yeah.
Okay. And then can you set in, I don't know whether we have this at the moment. I only use Opera Pegasus. Not as much. Jill probably uses it more than me. But is there a setting at the moment, whether it be in the sales ledger or CRM, where you can set it to flag up and give you alerts if a customer hasn't placed an order in a certain amount of time?
There isn't, but you would set up some sort of report to say, so you can use
To
XRL.
interrupt Julian,
Go on.
there's a product called Instant Messenger,
Okay.
and that can be used to send you alerts when certain criteria aren't met, and you can
Yes.
also have it delivered in report format as an email. So rather than
Okay.
just getting pop-ups all the time, you could elect to have a report at the beginning of every day or at the end, whenever. And you can also, the interesting thing about the instant messenger is you can do it to non-Pegasus users as well. So if you've got people in your sales team who aren't Opera users, but you want them to, I mean, maybe if you've got CRM, they would become Opera users, but you might have somebody who wants to be, you know, told some information. So it's got quite a lot of uses outside of that.
Well,
yeah, okay.
the other option as well, bit salesy this, but with our latest product, which is Opera SE, there's a product called Data Connector, which is basically sets up, like getting technical, a secure data lake of all the information that's in Opera. And then you can write things like Power BI and Microsoft alerts and things like that that are linked. So it's constantly polling your data and going, yeah, today it's been 2 months since you sold something, or a month or something like that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, it's quite simple to get a normal report after, say, last purchase date and run it into, it is a case, it's not an alert, it is a case you then have to open the report and read it. But yeah.
Okay. That sounds good.
Anything else?
Not from me, I don't think.
Cool.
No, I don't think so. Just that little bit on the covering letter, please, Julian. That would be really
I'll have a
helpful.
look at that. I think you can do it in mail merge, but there might be another way as well.
Yeah, because at the moment we're just typing something out and it's just adding extra. It's just adding extra unneeded time.
Is that, are you emailing that document? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've just made a note on that one as well.
Thank you.
I'll check it. No problem. Well, has anybody got anything else they want to ask or for us to cover?
No,
That's all
good.
That's good.
I was going to say, the thing to remember, I've shown you how I use it. It can be used in a multitude of different ways, and there's a lot more to it than I've shown you. So if you are interested, if you haven't got it, you're not using it, it's worth a further conversation to have a look. But I have to reiterate, the important thing is to really think about how you want to use it before you start using it.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
a lot of it is just the amount of information you put in as the user, isn't it?
Rubbish in, rubbish
It's
out.
only as good as what you put in.
That. And I think that's the problem with us at the minute. I don't think we're possibly putting in enough information once we've made the initial contact and putting the information in afterwards to say, oh, we spoke to the customer, this, and this, and doing that part of it. And I think we need to get into that habit of doing that.
I think people think in your head that it's quite an onerous task and it takes forever.
Exactly right, yeah.
You have to get a minute. There's a fine line between it being something you just do, like I do. I live and die by my CRM. To be fair, I wake up in the morning and look at it. What am I doing today? But then if you're making your salespeople write a book for every call and things like that, they're not going to do it.
No, sure, absolutely.
So there's a very fine line between going over the top and them being anti it and hating it, and then just thinking it's a way of, I tell you what, I didn't show you. Sales reports, I didn't go into reports, just very quickly. Lots and lots of different ones can be addressed, but sales pipeline report, which is probably the key one I meant to show you. I knew there was something else. So we can do that by those sales stages, by an owner company, so you can go by territory, forecasted closure ranges. There's a number of different ones: standard report, Excel summary, Excel spreadsheets, use the probability spreadsheet that I said, and then just doing a standard report here. So when you have your sales meetings, you can just sit down with this and talk through, and it can be as detailed, so all the information can be on there. This is just a very quick one to show you what's outstanding, when's it going to close, what's it about, stuff like that. So you can run through with I used to do it with my MD, sit with that, and then he'd write notes on it going.
Yeah.
When I made
So
my
you could
promises.
tailor that to sort of specific reps.
I did know there was something else I needed to show you. Sorry.
Can you use it if you're out on the road, if you're field based, on say from a phone, or would it always have to be on a laptop, what you would have to update?
There's a number of solutions available for that.
Okay.
Julia's probably the best person to speak to after the call on that, because that just opens up another half an hour conversation.
Another conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much
Well-
indeed. If there isn't anything else, I'm going to stop the recording now. And thank you all for joining.
Happy days. I'll come back
Okay.
to you, Tom,
Thank you
on
very
that.
much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Brilliant. Cheers.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.